you know what happens at the neurological neuron level? This is kind of probably a bad description or view of what happens with neuronal cells, but it's probably not too far off either. If the body of the neuron is here, where the next neuron is, and the little dendrites, they're called, come close together, and if a pathway of electricity or energy or information comes down and follows that pathway now, literally a little calcium bond forms right there called a dendritic connection. Now that's a pretty interesting piece of information to file away for yourself. From those little dendritic connections, now this pathway is much more likely to fire again than it was before. But I don't know, anybody else here hike a lot? Do you stay on the trails? I don't. I love to bushwhack, and I'll be on a trail that is just a rabbit trail. You know what happens to rabbit trails? They're this big. They go under trees. So I'm following a trail and it doesn't go anywhere. It sort of ends, but if I find another trail, I can follow it. But if I can shift from this one to this one to this one, and I did it 30 times, now there's a pathway that's getting stronger and stronger. It's become a real trail then. Somebody else will come along and follow that same trail, and pretty soon that gets wider. In our country, there were animals, there were people came along, there were, especially in Native American areas of the country, and then the white folks came from the east, and they came in horses. Pretty soon they were not just walking where they went, they were bringing the wagons and the horses, and it became a much bigger trail and had ruts in it, and pretty soon we followed the same trails, basically, that had been used for thousands of years, in some cases, to create highways and freeways, interstate system that we have now. And by and large, they've used the same pathways. So it's kind of like that in your brain and nervous system. We have a network of neurological connections where you have a behavior that where the pathway used to go some other way, and you've created this dendritic connection. Instead of going A, B, C, you now go A, B, D, because a different connection happened than the one that was there before. So the more times you go that way, obviously the stronger the new pathway gets. What happens to the old one?
Falls away.
It falls away. It's like any muscle that you haven't used, it's going to atrophy. Literally will lose connection after a little while. So you think about what it's like to be depressed. As you do, what is it that people who are depressed are doing to create depression?
They're continuing in it. They're
Okay.
continuing in the patterns. Maybe they're sleeping more. Maybe they have the same thought going
They may
on.
sleep, and this is a pretty common thing. There's a specific way they're thinking that goes over and over again. More specifically, what are they doing with their body and with their mind talk and voice?
They're withdrawing.
Withdrawing. So what does withdrawing look like?
Mm.
Okay, yeah. Now look, what's she doing with her shoulders?
They're just slumping.
Yeah, you slump.
Their eyes are
they roll
down.
forward. Head tends to go down, typically to one side. Where do your eyes go?
Down.
Okay, try this for a minute and notice what the sound is like in your voice. Anybody got a little whiny voice?
I said, oh, poor me.
Oh, poor me. It could be monotony or whiny or something like that.
Feel very
Now,
victimized.
our automatic, now you got this whole language coming up describing the whole thing. Don't stay there very long. Move your body around. So they did this study, and they found out that, and I don't know for sure who did this study. It could be an urban myth or an NLP myth. But the story of it is like this, and it's demonstrable, so you can do it. They took clinically depressed people, rolled them out in wheelchairs in this setting, and as I understand it, there was somebody who was kind of a cheerleader to keep them up and moving and all of that. But they did two main things. Now you notice what it felt like in your body to do this and hear that sound? Where'd you feel that in your body?
The stomach.
stomach,
Shoulders,
shoulders,
neck,
neck,
heart.
heart, yeah. A lot of people will get it right in here through the midsection, and it's especially the gut feeling and all of that. Now, back out of it again. Here's the two things they did. So keep your head more or less level, so your eyes then roll up where your head stays, but your eyes roll up as high as you can get them and find a spot to focus on the ceiling. As you focus on that spot, focus, 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 keep focusing, and then put a big grin on your face. Big smile, silly grin, bigger and bigger and bigger, and keep focusing, keep focusing, keep focusing, and try to be depressed while you're doing it. Can you do that? No, you can't do that. Come on back down again. So the mind-body connection is really important, and you just created new pathways through your brain and nervous system. We actually got an ABC pathway going in you, and then immediately shifted it to an ABD pattern, and now you have a different experience of it. So the more times you do that, the stronger the new pathway gets. And again, if they could get people to keep in this physiology, eyes up, big smile for like 20 minutes at a time, it would literally break the depressive cycle and the neurochemical connections that are there. The chemistry begins to change, because that's the problem with creating that kind of state in your life, is it becomes basically addictive. You get stuck in it, you can't get out easily, and now you have to do something much more dramatic to get yourself out.